Hi everyone, I'm Jacqueline Alvarado, speech language pathologist, and I'm on a mission to create online resources for people with aphasia and their loved ones. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi my friends, welcome to our third video in our Aphasia Book Club. We're reviewing the book Healing and Happiness After Stroke by Carrie Dahlgreen. I'm very happy to be sharing this book with you all. I found the information in this book very valuable for the stroke and brain injury survivor to address the feelings and the emotions that come with healing, not only of your body, but also of your mind and your heart during your stroke and brain injury recovery. So I really encourage you all to pick a copy up of this book. So chapter 4 is entitled Navigating New Emotions. The previous chapters, we talked about the limiting beliefs and the beliefs that we have that might hold us down during our recovery. And so now it talks about once these limiting beliefs are out of the way, once we understand that we come with these beliefs that hold us down or limit our recovery, such as I'm never going to be able to do this again, or limiting beliefs that doctors or nurses may say, if you don't make recovery within 1 year, you're never going to get better. Those are limiting beliefs that we may hear, which are not true. The next step in this process is to understand and to manage the emotions of grief and anger that may come during your recovery. A very powerful statement that the author makes in this chapter is just a reminder that you are not your stroke, you are not your brain injury, and you are not your aphasia. You are also not your emotions. So if you're feeling these emotions of grief, anger, depression, that does not define who you as a person are. The book talks about 5 stages of grief, and when we think about the 5 stages of grief, we often think about them related to a death or a passing of a loved one or a friend. But these stages of grief can be related to having a stroke or having a brain injury. The 5 stages of grief we will be reviewing in the next slides, but they are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And it's important to understand that we do not go through the stages of grief in a linear fashion. So we do not go from stage 1 to stage 2 and stage 3 very seamlessly. We might feel denial, move to bargaining, depression, go back to anger, and then finally acceptance. So these stages are not a straight and clear path. The first stage of grief is denial. So this is where maybe somebody just had a stroke or a brain injury and you are in the denial stage. This is where I hear comments like, everything will be fine once I get home. I can't believe this happened to me. Or I don't need help. This will pass soon. So I have had clients or patients that would tell me a timeline. In 6 months, I'm going to be able to do this again, or everything's going to be better in 3 months. And so this is just a stage where there's kind of shock. I'm still in shock that this happened to me, but we're going to get it over this very shortly. The second stage is anger. We're kind of past the denial stage, and we are seeing that this in turn may be a long process, and people may start to become angry. Things such as, this isn't fair that I had a stroke. I can't walk, I can't work, I have aphasia, I can't do this, I can't do that. This is where I hear a lot of my patients and my clients saying all the things that they cannot do after having either their stroke or brain injury. The book says, when we accept the things that we cannot control, we start to create better thoughts that leads to less anger and more happiness. So once we understand or accept that we could not control whether we were going to have a stroke, and we cannot control when or where or how we had a brain injury, we can start to create better thoughts. So better thoughts in terms of, okay, now what do I do? Let's start recovering. The anger will lessen, and in turn, you may find more happiness in the process. So the third stage is bargaining. This bargaining stage often entails a higher being, whether you believe in God or the universe. This stage reminds me of when we are children and we say, if I do this, then can I have that? Something that my kids tell me, if I clean the table, then can I have a piece of candy? So if I go to speech therapy 2 times a week, then please help me talk again like before. If I work out every day, then please help me get back to normal. We're putting a criteria on our recovery, and we're telling our body how soon we expect recovery to happen. If I work out every day, 2 times a week, in the next 3 months, then let me talk again like I did before. So the book says, when you give your recovery everything you have and expect nothing in return, amazing things will happen. The fourth stage is depression. So depression may arise when the reality of the deficits from the stroke or brain injury actually start to set in. So we're past the denial stage. We're past the anger stage. We're past the bargaining stage. And now it's setting in that the recovery from a stroke or brain injury may take longer than we had expected. So this is where people begin to feel very sad and feel very depressed. And so it entails the process of mourning the life that you once had. I was able to do this, I was able to do that, I was able to work. This may also be because of a lack of support that you may have in your recovery. You may be carrying some shame and have some low self-esteem regarding your stroke. What's really important in this stage is that you also have to understand that because the brain is changing, there's changes in the chemicals of your brain as well. And so it's very important to have an open conversation with your doctor about the feelings and the emotions that you have, and seek guidance from a licensed professional counselor, a life coach, somebody that will help you talk through and work through these feelings of sadness and depression. I want you to know that feelings of depression and sadness are very common in stroke and brain injury survivors. And for people who have aphasia, the statistics show that their likelihood of getting depression is 3 times more than somebody who has just had a stroke or a brain injury. So please be open to sharing these feelings with a professional that can help you work through them. So the fifth stage is acceptance. This is the person accepts and understands that their stroke is going to be part of their new normal. This may be where you start to see somebody continuing to work hard and continuing to go to their therapy sessions, but also have a different attitude towards their recovery. So one of the exercises in the book is to write yourself a compassionate letter. So write yourself a letter from the perspective of a caring friend. Sometimes when we speak to ourselves, we can speak very harshly to ourselves, but when we speak to a friend that may be seeking advice, we give them a lot of love and compassion that we don't necessarily give ourselves. So we did this activity in my aphasia group, and this is our letter that we wrote as a group. Dear friend, you have come a long way. I want to tell you that there is light after your stroke. I am here to help you. I have to, if you to think about positivity. I love all to see. I have love for each one. I hope for all to have a very good day. Be patient with yourself. So get up and dance. So if it's difficult for you to say the words because of your aphasia or write the words because of your aphasia, have a dialogue, an internal dialogue in your thoughts about what you would tell a good friend about their stroke or brain injury recovery. You would tell them positive thoughts or positive affirmations like, I'm here for you, I'm praying for you. So remember that healing takes time, but every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. And we are here cheering you on every step of the way. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed the video.